Okay, hey everybody. It is me, Gudnak, also known as David, the guy who plays too much Gudnak. So, we are going to go ahead and make a tier list today of the different Power 3 heroes based on their power level. This is, of course, my opinion, but my opinion is usually right, so there is that. No, just kidding. No, seriously, if you watch this video and you have things you strongly disagree with or strongly do agree with, please drop it in the comments of the YouTube video, especially because not everybody who watches Gudnak content is going to be in the Gudnak Discord. If you're not, you should hop into the Gudnak Discord. But if, for example, someone just wants to watch this YouTube video without being too involved, you should drop your opinions here so that everyone who's watching this video can see it. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and get started. I absolutely love ranking things. It is one of my favorite things to do. I actually did the same video earlier today, and then I looked back at it and I saw I disagreed with a lot of my takes, and so I had to go ahead and redo this. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and start with the dog one. I think the simplest ones to start with. We're going to go ahead and put Svar in S tier. Obviously, him with Retreat to Tunnels is terrifying. Just one-man siege machine, and all of Dalguan has really good support, but we're looking just basically at what the Hero 3s have to offer here. So we're going to go ahead and put Nili in the A tier. Lots of really great reach and aggression with Nili, and you can also get some good sieges very early with Nil Thracaris, so we're going to put them A tier. We're going to put the queen below herself in the B tier. Lots of really cool chain moves that you can do here to chunk up lots of 1s and 2s at a time or get a fast siege with the cultists, but doesn't get you quite as much without a bit more setup than the top two require. So we're going to go ahead and put as in B tier. We're going to go ahead and put C tier Draz. Draz has lots of fun things they can do. I really enjoy playing Draz personally. I think the issue with Draz compared to the other ones is that you have to sacrifice a lot of those really premium Dalguan tactics in order to include the attachments that you want. And while they're very good attachments, it is a bit that you're giving up to play Draz, and so a lot of people get those losses there. And then we're going to go ahead and put the Exalted Hair Specs here in D tier. D tier mostly because I see a lot of people get a little too lost in trying to get cool combos going while they're playing Exalted Specs, and so they just leave themselves susceptible to other things while trying to do just a bit too much. I do think there's lots of potential to be up here for both of these guys in the A-B tier, but I think just how the average person is playing them, it's kind of in that D tier level. Should be higher, but I think that's just kind of the realistic situation for him. And I'm going to be trying to kind of get everyone up here into almost a curve is what we're looking at. So we're going to hopefully get lots of people in B tier, a few in S, few in E, and then more in C and A, but mostly in B. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the Marvoran. So if we start with Empress Liara, I think she is a good B tier hero. There's lots of really cool stuff she can do. Pulling out the Leviathan is obviously really awesome, but it's just a bit more telegraphed for the opponent to see coming, and also there's not quite as many good deploy effects that can synergize there. There's lots of really good ones, but it's just not quite as consistent as some of the other things are going to be. So we're going to put Liara here in B tier. Melpomene we're going to put in C tier above Draz. Draz has a similar situation as Melpomene. Melpomene, there's some really good Marvoran tactics, but you kind of have to swap out a bit too many to build the songs that you want to for her support. And so if it works really well, and it's up to AS territory. But if it doesn't work, you're just going to fall flat and have a few wasted tactics. So I'm putting Melpomene here in C tier. Scylla, I think, is very, very good. Not quite S tier material yet. I think there's a ton of aggression, ton of fast pace by being able to have 2/3 of the field be your back row. And that just gives you a huge advantage. You get just an extra 3 on your 5th turn there, being able to get Charybdis out and just sacking it into another 3 instantly, or just applying a lot of pressure. So yeah, no, Scylla is very, very good. Really easy to make a lot of the back row synergies work. and super effective. Lots of people can navigate it, so that's where we're going to go ahead and put that. Okay, thank you, Scylla. Let's go ahead and move on to the neutrals. The neutrals, I think, are kind of classic C tier stuff where they're decent, but they're not amazing. Captain Karkaros, I'm going to put up here at the front of C tier. He's really cool. He can do a lot of fun things with Refractory. He can do lots of things with the neutral basics, get lots of trade-up potentials, get Cannon Shot to work on a Hunter. So lots of really cool stuff for him, so I'm going to put him up here at the top. Rusty Knight, though, is one of my favorites, so I'm going to put him at the top just because quests are awesome, and if you play him right, you don't lose too much value by playing Rusty Knight, and you're able to get those quests, which are amazing. So we're going to go ahead and put him up here at the top of C. Let's go ahead and do the Oroxy next. Divine Aurochs I'm putting up here in S tier. I think Divine Aurochs is an excellent fighter. Tons and tons of potential with the Divine Aurochs. You can basically finish the game as soon as it starts if you're able to get Divine Aurochs into the middle early on, and if you have Death Leaper, that's almost GG's for the opponent. Super effective fighter to play with, and just you can get so much value from the Aurochs being able to deploy things wherever you want next to it or defend. Just a very, very good one. Bolt Bender, I'm going to put low B. There's lots of fun stuff that you can do with Bolt Bender, but it does rely on a lot of attachments. Granted, Oroxy has some of the best attachments in the game, obviously, with that being one of their main focuses. But I do think there is lots to be said with Bolt Bender, especially with the add-on of the Void, and potentially being able to copy things with fighters like Twin of Twine, Shadow Phosmonaut for having a really cool Bolt Bender deck. So we're going to go ahead and put him low B here. Unraveler, I'm going to go ahead and put above her specs in the D tier. I think the Unraveler does have some really cool options available to him. For example, you can do an Ogre Nihilist and keep Unraveler alive with both Doomweaver and Shadow Drop Shadow. But I think just in general, the kind of plays you're going to want to do with him, you would really prefer to not have to take an action to use his ability, and it's just pretty cost heavy for not as much return overall, I feel like, for the Unraveler. Granted, I need to get in a lot more reps with him. He's one of my least repped heroes so far. I do enjoy playing him sometimes, but I just think it's a bit tricky for the cost. Let's see here. We have Void Strider. Void Strider is in this area where there can be really cool A tier moments with Void Strider, but it does take a bit more setup, and the value is a bit trickier to get. I do like that you can siege and then relocate one into the gates, for example. But ultimately, I'm going to go ahead and put Void Strider at the top of C tier here, as some of that value can be a bit trickier to get compared to the Aurochs and the Bolt Bender. Okay, let's go ahead and go into Shardsworn. Shard Dragon S tier for me, so I'm going to go ahead and put the Shard Dragon probably behind Zvar. Not quite as much inherent value, a bit above the Divine Aurochs. Thing about the Shard Dragon is you can play value game or OTK super powerfully with the Shard Dragon with things like Bear Form for Druid, Brute Force, or if you play the OTKs right, that's very, very hard to work around as the opponent. There are a few counters though, so I'm going to go ahead and put it behind Zvar and go ahead and stick that there. Valkyrie, I really like. I think that's like the top B tier fighter for me. Valkyrie puts a ton of pressure if you can get Master of the Hunt out. They basically have to send a 3 to go run into the Valkyrie as soon as they can. Otherwise, you're just going to be sniping everything super fast. Getting Sentry Blades onto Valkyrie is legendary. So I do like what Valkyrie has to offer more than most of the B and C tier heroes. So we're going to go and stick her there. Spirit of Alliance I think is B tier, probably behind Nazbrusik, above Empress Liara. Really good options for Spirit of Alliance. Again, can push up into that A tier territory. C tier perhaps, or A tier. Anyways, can push up. but I think a lot of times it can be a little bit more tricky for people. But I love Inspiration with Spirit of Alliance. Obviously, excellent ambush, super great combo, and being able to continue stacks into people's gates. So lots to like about Spirit of Alliance, just a little less accessible perhaps than some of the options like Valkyrie or Dragon. War Chief I'm going to put up here in A tier, actually above Nilly. I think War Chief is a really, really good Hero 3. Shout out Hakeem for his awesome War Chief deck. But yeah, this with Unstable Shard Maul is really good, especially considering the fact that if you do siege someone with this, oftentimes you're looking at it being a 4 or 5, and so they would have to defend with 4 or 5 cards, which is really awesome. Being able to make them discard that much to take him out. He forces a lot of really interesting positional elements on the board. And just overall, I think he is really good package for the Shard Sword. Ogre Nihilist I actually think is a B tier hero. I'm going to go ahead and put him here below Liara and above Boltbender. I think a lot of people misplay him, so a lot of lists will probably have him in C or D tier. But he does gain a lot of value compared to like Shard Dragon, where you're just keeping that value straight. One thing that's nice about Ogre Nihilist is that it just threatens a ton. It definitely reduces your opponent's willingness to put out a ton of pressure and board presence early on, and so Ogre Nihilist can be really, really nice. And I'm going to put him in the B tier above Boltbender. Okay, let's go ahead and switch up to the Rotborn. I'm going to start with my highest Rotborn, in my opinion, is actually the Spore Lord, who I think I'm going to go ahead and put here behind Orc War Chief. Spore Lord, I think, is very, very good, especially with Marvoran expansion, having access to things like Fungoid at Arms. Just makes it really hard for the opponent to approach him, especially with things like Village that he can combo with, or that the Tactics can combo with, while also really poking the bear and causing a lot of damage with things like Fungoid at Arms. The not fatiguing aspect is really nice for him, and being traitless, it's harder to trade up on him. So yeah, no, Spore Lord I think is really good right now, actually. Myco Titan, I'm going to go ahead and put at the very top of C tier. I do think Myco Titan can be very good. I think you just are going to end up investing a lot more of those really nice Rotborn tactics to make sure you have enough spore colonies generated to be able to get his ability a second time. So I think he can be up here in the A-B territory. I think just a lot of times people might invest a little too much in him and then end up losing the game because they didn't quite get back the value or have enough options for other things that are going to come up. But I do think he's a very nice hero. I just don't think he's quite up with the B tier heroes. Pupil, I think, is A tier. I'm going to put her lower A tier here. The new Rotborn attachments are honestly excellent. They're all super, super nice options. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the Pupil right here at the bottom of A tier. Being able to get back Cordyceps or Engineered Plague is really awesome. Let alone if you're playing with potions. So yeah, no, I think the Pupil does belong in the A tier, and being traitless, hard to trade up yet again. Protein, I'm going to put up here towards the top of B tier. I really like the Protein. I think Protein has S tier capabilities, frankly. He threatens so much when he's on the board. I think the thing that Protein struggles with is if the opponent does take out the Protein early on, often that can leave the rest of his deck being a little less, maybe perhaps a bit underpowered, because there might be a bit too much investment in abilities that will synergize more with the Protein compared to standing up on their own. And so that can be tricky, which is why I'm going to put him down here in B tier. But I do think he is a very, very good fighter. Okay, let's go ahead and go down into the glowing. Let's just go ahead and start off with Revenant. Revenant I'm going to put in C tier above the neutral heroes. And I think I'm going to drop Draz down to D now, just so I can get that nice curve I'm looking for. But yeah, no, I think Revenant does have lots of really fun surprises he can pull off. Honestly, I think he's a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for. But just if you're looking at comparing him to the other Gloaming fighters, I think he doesn't offer quite as much in this point of time as the other Hero 3s. So I'm going to put him here in the C. Loveland Presence, I think a lot of people have him up here towards the top of S tier. I'm kind of tempted to drop him more to top of B or lower A just because it is pretty simple to play around his really good pieces like Fratricide or Mysterious Miss by simply stacking, right? If you have one underneath your 3s, they're pretty safe. But with Swarm Seeker, that is really dangerous. So I'm going to put him up here to S just because if you are playing around the Fratricide misplays, that means all of a sudden you're playing into the Swarm Seeker plays if you're including Swarm Seeker in your deck, and that's just super freaky. So lots of diversity in ways that you can use him and get value off of him. So yeah, I'm going to put him in the S tier. He is very good. Everking, I think I'm going to put close to the top of the B tier. I actually really like the Everking. I think he's close to the A tier, honestly. He threatens a ton, and especially right now, he's more dangerous than he's ever been between things like Ladies in Waiting and also Palace Ossuary. That's just a terrifying threat to be able to have that ability could continue to persist. So yeah, I'm going to put him towards the top of the B tier. Ice Saints I'm also going to have in the B tier, probably right below Spirit of Alliance and above Empress Liara. I think the Ice Saints can be really awesome. They can be S tier level, honestly. The issue with the Ice Saints is their action gain being dependent on those constructs. You're probably going to have 2 or 3 really good constructs for them to work with. You can do some really mean things with Advisor and Palace Ossuary and Veiled Queen with the Ice Saints. But the issue is that because they are dependent on those constructs, certain factions like Refractory or Shardsworn that are more mobile and able to pop them quickly might be a bit more of a problem for the Ice Saints, which is why I'm putting them as low as I am. But I do think they're a really good Hero 3, honestly. Lich, I'm going to go ahead and put him in A tier, probably up above Nilly, but below Spore Lord. I think, actually I'm going to put him below. I think when he works, he's amazing, right up there in the S tier territory. I think his issue is that if you don't get a good card draw, if you don't get him early, or if you have a lot of pressure by the opponent, it can be hard to pull off his stuff. There are good ways to work around it with things like Chef and Carpenter, but still at the end of the day, it can end up being a bit too slow-paced and struggle there. But yeah, otherwise you can get like infinite value. And so, yeah, he's really good. Okay, Refractory. These guys are the toughest for me. Mostly because with the Refractory, I feel like give me Reposition Tempo and Barrage in any of these Hero 3 setups, and I can add another couple tactics and change up the heroes. And yeah, you've got a level A setup. But we're looking at the merit of the heroes themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Bulgriff Rider is really good. Yeah, you can do a ton of pressure, great, and then 2v2 as well. But with Bulgriff Rider, you can apply tons of pressure. You don't inherently gain value from him, but him with Standard Bearer, you're able to just get where you want to when you need to, barrage any spot of the board, move, attack, do lots of really cool reposition siege shenanigans. So great A-tier fighter in my opinion. Okay, Non-Steel Paladin, I would put at the B tier. I'm going to go ahead and put him above Nazbresic, about right here. I think he is very good. Being able to get back like 4 barrages, essentially, with Battlemaster is super freaky, let alone what he can do with Griff Dogs. So yeah, I think he's really good. I think he threatens a lot. I don't think he's quite as versatile, maybe as some of the others. That might be. There might be too much distance here, but this is what I'm going to go ahead and stick with. And High Inquisitor, this is probably one of my hottest takes, is I'd actually just put him right here behind the Dawnsteel Paladin. I think he's very, very good. What you have offered by the Lord High Inquisitor is just insane comeback potential. You don't have to kill an opponent's 3 for it to be out of the way, right? You can capture a 3, not kill it, and if you never give the opponent access to that 3 again, you essentially killed it. And I think a lot of people play the Inquisitor poorly. But if you look at, I know like MC does really good stuff with him, and I've had a lot of success with the Inquisitor against really good players. Yeah, with him and Jailer, I've had multiple instances, not multiple, but a couple, where Inquisitor's been my last 3, the opponent still has all 3 of their 3s, and with his ability in cards like Incarceration, Barrage, Jailer, I was able to completely come back and get the win at the end of the day. So yeah, I think he is super underestimated, super undervalued, and he is pretty high B for me. I quite like the Inquisitor. Tempted to put him in front of the Dawnsteel Paladin just because, like, if you're down on 3s with Paladin, he's not going to help you as much. But he is harder for the average person to pull off, so I'm going to go ahead and put him here. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the Head of Hybridization. I'm going to put right here at the bottom of A tier. Head of Hybrids is really, really good. I think they have so much that they offer as far as like clean trade ups with things like Well Trained, Low Country Cutthroat, and being able to just jump around with effects like Felgriff or have a 3 running around unfatigued with the Griff Dogs. It's just very, very solid, very threatening, lets you remove what you need to when you need to. I think the only issue is that you're a bit locked into some of the heroes that you want to work with him. And so it can be a little bit more restrictive there as far as the deck building itself. But I think you can honestly have 3 just classic refractory tactics with him, and then a couple extra Griff Dog flavored things, plus Well Trained, and yeah, you're set. So yeah, very good hero. I'm going to put here at the bottom of A tier, and then I'm going to go ahead and put High Priestess close to the top of B tier. I think Priestess is really nice. Being able to protect your important pieces, whether they're Jailer or trade up opportunities, is super good, or just pile on top of a siege. Yeah, High Priestess is great, and trait list makes it hard to trade up on them. So here is my tier list. I think I legitimately did a pretty good job. Tell me what you think my hottest takes were, what you disagree with the most. Tell me what you think you would change in your own list, and please put it in the comments of this video so that people who are new to Gudnak and haven't been involved in the Discord channel yet can see other opinions than just mine. But that's my opinion on the strength of the Hero 3s. Honestly, think all of them have super high potential, but I think this is kind of based off of how easy it is to pull off their thing versus while also working with what their highest potential is. So this is my list, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.